So, finding special spots in nature. This is a challenge when you live in a really populated place, right? Like, I live in Denver, and even when we go out on trails, like, they're busy. There's a lot of people. I think it's great because it's an indicator that there's more people getting out, like, that on the whole appreciate nature and getting into it. But that can feel, I don't know, sometimes it might feel safer for some people, other people, it might feel distracting or not what you're looking for. But you've got to do what you can do, right? So don't rule out places that you think, I don't think I'd like that. Um, I found my favorite spot um, in Oregon, in Oak Ridge, or just outside of town when I lived there. Um, my spot that I walked to, and I did so much work and so much meditating and so many tears, like so much processing and weaving like composting myself as I was going through annihilation and the the dissolution of self and then the reemergence of self and putting that together now. That was all done in a place I blew off when I first got there. Someone mentioned that it was a good place to take dogs. And so I went there first for that because it was apparently a place where it was okay to have dogs off leash. Anyways, it was below a dam and not typically where I'd be like, oh, well, I'm going to go hang out below a dam. I know a lot of people fish below dams and all of those things, but that was off putting to me. And it ended up being, and it is still, when I go back and visit, it's the place I go. And I love that now it is also, other people have added some things to the little memorial shrine I made for my daughter there. Um, People are adding things to it. And so that's still impacting people. But it ended up being the perfect place for me. So just explore and know that maybe something doesn't seem like your ideal image of being in nature, and you might be surprised and find, wow, this is pretty amazing. Because from that spot, like for instance, I saw otters, I saw mama otter and baby otter, and saw deer swim across the river to my side, and saw bear poop all the time. And yes, there's danger, right? So you have to be very realistic when you go into nature. Be prepared. Have bear spray with you. I like to have it. I'm pretty sure I could get an animal to run away. I like to have bear spray for bad humans. And I haven't encountered any, but I had a couple of instances when I was there that made me nervous that I pulled it out and I unclipped it and was ready. So just having those things can make you feel safer, and you are safer with those things when you make sure you know how to use them, right? So you don't bear spray yourself. Another tool I like to have is um, an umbrella because they're weird. And I think that if you open and close an umbrella, it's scary to animals because it's weird and it makes you look bigger. So it's another good handy tool because they collapse so small to be able to whip out and look bigger. That's one I started using kind of more for cats because of my concern about mountain lions. So find spots in nature because that are unexpected. You will find unexpected things. So at this spot, in addition to those things, I also saw um, eagles and osprey, like teaching their young how to dive for fish. Partly because the fish were easy pickings, because they were a little stunned from coming down. If they came through the dam, they would be floating. I often thought they were dead, but I don't think they were. They were just stunned because I saw many of them, like just a little bit further, they'd be belly up and then they'd swim away. So, so many raptors that I got to witness, like practicing and teaching, and just such a beautiful experience to witness that, right? Like I felt like that was such a gift to get to witness. And there were many other things that I saw there that um, were just wonderful moments that you don't get when you're just huffing it, cruising through nature. And I'm not saying don't go for hikes. Hikes are great, but take time to stop and just watch and attend and witness the nature around you. And I promise you, you will find and see some wonderful things. So don't rule out places that are not your ideal of going into nature because you can find some gems. So don't be closed-minded on that. And be safe, right? You want to be safe in nature. Have these things with you. I also liked to have a knife with me just in case. You just never know, right? If you're in nature by yourself, especially, I loved having my dogs with me because I would clip them to my crazy creek when I would sit and meditate and write in my journal. And I felt safer having them. So if you have dogs, right, that's great. That helps you be safe. Make sure you're being a respectful person in nature with your pets, and don't let your dogs just run loose because they do harass wildlife, and or they may run up on somebody who has a dog that they have on a leash and is more because they're aggressive. So keep your dogs on a leash, keep them under control. Um, when you're not attending, right? I think it's okay in spaces that are where it's allowed to let dogs be off leash, but only if your dogs are friendly, obviously, and not aggressive. But you, when you're sitting, if you're really processing and or meditating or writing in a journal, you are not as attuned to what's behind you, right? So just make sure if you don't have dogs with you, position yourself, right? So that you feel like maybe there's a tree right behind you. You feel a little bit protected. So just be savvy and also consider borrowing a friend's dog. Most people, their pets don't get as much exercise as they would like. And if you're going out, I had friends that would come and pick up Oliver and go take him for hikes, and they loved him greatly. And so it's good for your pets, but it helps people. So if you have pets, be willing to let friends, if you trust them, take them into nature. And and if you don't have pets, like I said, just use some sense of smarts and know that in nature, like you're in nature and there's no like safety cord to pull. You've got to be savvy. And I was in a place where there were frequently bears. And so I mean, I saw a bear only once, but lots of fresh poop. And so when you're in those settings, that's one of the reasons I had my dogs, you know. And if you don't have dogs, then have bear spray and probably a knife, but definitely bear spray because it's a good one to have for bad humans and animals just doing what they do. It's not they're not being bad animals. They're just doing what animals do. So humans, on the other hand, they can be bad, and you want to make sure that you're safe. So assess your safety, and if you're not sure, ask people. Forest Service offices are very helpful, right? They will give you safety tips. They'll tell you areas that maybe there's more activity of cats or bear or other predators that you may want to avoid. They just so go to your Park Service, go to your Forest Service, go to your BLM office and ask them. They have great maps and they will be able to give you more information on the right kind of place that you might be looking for. So, and also state parks, like states that really care about people being able to access nature and preserving beautiful wild places. State parks in Colorado are fantastic. State parks in Oregon are fantastic. Of course, California, the whole Northwest and the West Coast are all great about it. So, and Colorado has excellent state parks. So remember to access nature in whatever way you can. When you live in a city, orient to trees, right? Notice the trees in your environment. Keep them in your like awareness. That helps. Trees are one of the best anchoring things that we can just notice and attune to. Again, I feel like that's a very primal response that we have with trees. And so, yeah, tune into nature and increase your exposure to it, increase your time spent in it, and bring it into your life in as many ways as you can.